All right. Testing, testing. One, two, three. Ladies and gentlemen, can you all see me? Most importantly, and I stress this as the most important part, can you all hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 3. What's going on, people? How y'all doing? What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Hopefully, the lighting quality is much better on this stream by comparison to the previous ones. I messed around with some of the settings, so it shouldn't come off as I'm like too blown out or whatever. I got to get myself some new lighting here in the future. You know, everything is so freaking like, hey, we'll do it when we do it. But now I'm just like, yeah, we definitely got to do this because we've been back on the streams. But what's going on, people? What's happening? How y'all doing? Happy Friday, everybody. Oh man, what a doozy of a Friday it is, man. We're not gonna spend too much time dilly dallying and shilly shallying because we got a behemoth of a topic to discuss tonight. This isn't gonna be the regular Ask Neo show. I know you guys are so accustomed to that on Friday because if we were to do Ask Neo, we would be spending 95% of the show just talking about this topic because this is stuff that's going back like legit since the revival of this channel 6 years ago. And there's a lot of feelings, a lot of complicated stuff to break down, and a lot of craziness. So we're going to give people like a minute or two to get into the chat, and then we're going to go ahead and get this started. But if you guys can do me a favor, if you are watching the stream, hit that like button. Helps out the channel tremendously. We just opened up the stream right now. We already got over 40 viewers, so shout out to you guys. And I just posted this on Twitter, so go ahead and do your boy a favor and retweet that, favorite it, share it out with y'all friends, y'all family, all that good stuff. While we wait until everything gets started. Some people saying I'm muted. Nah, don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Because I'm looking at my levels, and my levels are coming in pretty crispy, man. Pretty crispy indeed. But quick shout outs in the chat. We got Juke the Ronin. We got Pooh Bear. We got Flame. We got Long Live Kevin Samuels. Yes, sir. We got the homie J Fam. What's up, Jason? We got Jay the Mac. Yeah, hey, Neo is going live tonight. Yes, sir. Y'all know the vibes. We got gamer friend J. We have 3 different dudes named Jay, all in a row. That's crazy. If they played the lottery based off of like letters, dude, holy shit, I could have done something right there. We got Niner Pack Studios. We're returning to it like someone who has an affinity for the white powder. Yeah, that's the low key way of saying we back at it like a crack addict. We got Alexi in the chat. Crazy ass week. Shit, you're telling me, my brother. We got PS Tutorials. We got Def35. Who else is in here? We got the homie Don Otaku. Nintendo is the last man standing. The prophecy will be fulfilled. Yes, sir. $90 Nintendo games. Who's gonna stop them? Nobody. We got a 10-pound super chat coming in from the homie Super Exploit. Appreciate you, my brother. He says, been playing Persona 5 Royal on the Switch. I'm about 35 hours in so far. I believe the hype. Yo, we got another one. Another one. That's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. Persona 5, listen, I always tell people, like, if Persona 5 don't hook you within the first palace, then it's not the game for you, man. Because off rip, that game has one of the strongest openings I've ever seen in a JRPG. Man, in an RPG, period, bro. And it's just awesome. It's like every time we do a stream, someone comes back and says, yo, I just started Persona. It's freaking awesome, man. Enjoy the journey, Super Exploit. No pun intended, but take your time because Persona 5 is a beautiful, beautiful journey, man. Who else is in here? We have got Artsy Avanti. My night just got better. Ooh, my night just got better seeing you, my brother. I hear you've been on that trails. You've been on that trails in the sky. Yes, sir. My guy. Who else is in here? We got D'Angelo. We got Cold. We got Aaron. What's going on, gentlemen? We got Corey Gryffindor. The gaming industry sure is something right now. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. We got Mr. Positive Gamer. We got the homie Danny Dement with the whole government name. He said Phil getting replaced by the AI boss is nasty work, bro. Yeah, we gonna get into that, guys. We got Otaku Underground. We got Bari Master Elite. We got Captain CJ. What a crazy week it's been. Yeah. We got the homie Battlefield Joe 97. What's going on, Guman? We got Epsilon in the chat, my boy. Yes, sir. We got Day DZ watching the stream while I replay Yakuza 0 on my Switch too. Hey, valid. I'm waiting for that game to price drop, and I'm just gonna rebuy it on the Switch too, even though I own it on everything else. I want to play it portably, man. I say that as a person who owns a Steam Deck. I don't know, man. I just want everything on my Switch too, bro. I got that. I got that Nintendo itch again. I gotta go see a doctor, get treated for it. We got the homie Julian Harris in the chat. I've been playing Miles Morales. It's got me hooked. Yo, Miles Morales, man. This ain't exactly a hot take, but I feel like Miles Morales is the best all-around Spider-Man game that Insomniac has put out. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It trims off a lot of the fat, and it's just a good journey. Like, sure, the first game has the best story. Second game has, a lot of improvements for the gameplay, but Miles Morales is like that sweet spot, man. I really wish that Venom game ended up coming out. Because, bro, if it was like Miles Morales, shit. I'd be like, yeah, it's better than Spider-Man 2. We got Dragon Boyd in the chat. Wagwan, brother. How you doing? We got du fromage. Omelette du fromage. I really hope that's where the reference is from. All my Dexter's Lab fans. Show up in the chat. We got David Gone 803. Oh man. And I think that's everybody. Oh, no. We got James Ganser in the chat as well. You a big Life is Strange fan? Reunion drop soon. I wouldn't necessarily say like I'm a Life is Strange fan. I'm a Life is Strange... I guess you can call it Life is Strange observer. Like, I dip my toe in the franchise every now and then. Like, I played the first game, loved the first game, didn't play the sequel, didn't play Beyond the Storm, played Life is Strange True Colors, really like that, and I just haven't done anything else because it's like every time I try to play it, something new comes out, and then by the time I want to play Life is Strange, a new one comes out. I'm just like, all right, man. Eventually I'll get to the point where it's like they put them all and they bundle them in a collection, and I'll just buy them and replay them or something. But yeah, I really did enjoy the first Life is Strange, bro. Really damn good game. And True Colors, I know True Colors gets a lot of hate. That was like one of those games where I played it, I really enjoyed it, I get online, niggas be hating it. I'm like, oh man. You guys ever have that shit where it's like you play a game or some shit and you're like, yo, I'm really fucking with this shit, man. It's not perfect. It's pretty cool. You go online, everyone hates it. You're like, oh, what are we going to do? Yeah, if you're going to play Persona 5 portably, the best way to play it is either on a Steam Deck or one of the other PC handhelds. Because the Switch, man, my girlfriend's got Persona 5 on the Switch, and bro, that thing, oh, golly, it is so fuzzy. I was looking at that shit. I'm like, man, that's a low resolution shit. I mean, it's great that it's playable, but man, bro, the frame rate being at 30 didn't even bother me. It's just the resolution being so low. Fuck, dude. That thing definitely needs a Switch 2 patch. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, man. What's up, Valkian? What's up, CM Burke? How y'all doing? We got Stephen Kennedy in the chat. Nah, bro, listen, Life is Strange dialogue might be kind of cringy, but bro, that story was heat. That story was heat, bro. That story was heat. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, man. When's the Switch 2 Pro coming out? When you start buying Pokemon games? Them's the breaks, kids. You gotta support the Pokemons to get the Switch 2 Pros. Alrighty, you guys. So, this isn't our usual Ask Neo stream. Originally, I had planned it to be an Ask Neo stream where we talk about what happened yesterday with Bluepoint and Sony, but considering the major news that dropped earlier today, literally within the span of 24 hours of that Blueprint, Blueprints, Bluepoint Games being shut down, I was like, nah, this takes precedence. So, for those of you guys who, I guess we're busy all day, you might just be signing on to social media with this stream, we got a major shakeup at Xbox, probably the biggest that we've seen in company history. Phil Spencer is retiring from the company. Sarah Bond quit, or resigned, I should say. That's the proper terminology to use. And we've got a brand new CEO for the company by the name of Asha Sharma. Matt Booty somehow managed to fail upwards once again and got himself another promotion to the I don't even know how. Matt Booty becomes the executive vice president and chief content officer. And yeah, dude, this is a huge monumental news. Those were the cliff notes. We're gonna dive further into this. First things first, we're just gonna go straight into the statements that were released by the people at Microsoft, and then I'm gonna go into my personal thoughts on it. So we're going to flip the script over to our news tab over here. And this is coming directly from the Microsoft blog. Asha Sharma named Executive Vice President and CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Not to be confused with the president of Xbox that Sarah Bond was. She is essentially going to be replacing Phil Spencer as the head of anything to do with gaming at Microsoft. So this is huge news, you guys. First things first, I think many of us in the industry all expected that Phil Spencer was going to retire at some point. Phil Spencer has been with Xbox for, and it's so funny reading this article, he's been with Microsoft for almost 40 years, which is crazy. Most of us learned about Phil Spencer from when he took over Xbox after the disastrous Xbox One reveal, Don Matrick, yada, yada, yada. Phil Spencer took over in 2014. So the Xbox that we know as of today, the modern Xbox, I'm not talking about from the OG era, I'm not talking about from the 360 days, I'm talking about from the Xbox One onwards, that has been the Phil Spencer regime. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's been the longest tenured CEO at any of these gaming companies. In terms of like staying in that position. More often than not in these situations, CEOs are only there for like 3-4 years tops, and then they either move to a different part of the company or they just retire completely. But Phil Spencer has been there for well over 10 years at this point. But we all knew that he was going to retire, and we'll touch more on that when we get to the commentary portion. But to announce this all of a sudden on a Friday afternoon was batshit insane, because not only was he retiring, but Sarah Bond is leaving the company effective immediately for the most part. I mean, they're going to do like the smooth transition shit, but she's out the door, and then they have this new CEO that's going to be starting. Now, if you follow anything in the realm of corporate news and how they conduct things like that, more often than not, these executives, they announce their retirement sometimes months in advance. Like speaking about like gaming stuff, I believe Jim Ryan announced his retirement, and then about 3 months later, he was out of the company. So for Phil Spencer to announce his retirement and then say, hey, listen, on Monday morning, I'm out the door, is surreal to say the least. Real quick, we have a $10 super chat coming in from the homie Don Otaku. He says, I notoriously feel that all the non-Mario 3D platformers are an 8 at best, so believe me when I tell you that Demon Tides is the only 3D platformer that goes toe-to-toe with 3D Mario. It's a must-play. Well, appreciate the super chat on that, bro. But we'll touch on that a little bit later when we get to the other stuff. But thank you so much for the super chat, man. But for Phil Spencer to just like put out this memo and all this stuff was crazy, to say the least. Like, I knew he would be out of the company within, like, I want to say a year or so. I at least thought he'd get to the Xbox 25th anniversary, but it's like, nah, man, I am out. And we have this new person named Asha Sharma. Now, I don't know anything about this Asha Sharma like most people do. We all learned of her existence today. But she's held a couple of different roles at different companies. I believe she worked at Instacart. She worked at Meta. She worked previously for Microsoft, like early on in the marketing department back in the day. But she's moved around the corporate ladder. She hasn't really stayed at one company and made it her life's mission. You feel me? Like how a lot of the people that we're accustomed to in the gaming industry are, like, you know, Sean Layden's been in the company for years, Andrew House been in the company for many years, you know, people like Matt Booty, Phil Spencer, even someone new like Sarah Bond, she's been with the company for a couple of years. She's kind of like what my generation, millennials, are pitching when it comes down to working in corporate environments. You stay at a company for 2 to 4 years, you do what you can do in terms of advancing and learning stuff, and then you book it to the next job, either for career advancements, better salary, things like that. And if you look at her LinkedIn, that's exactly what she's done. And then she landed back at Microsoft in the AI department, running that. And then now she's been promoted to the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, which is crazy considering she doesn't have a background in gaming. But again, we'll touch more on that later. So we have a couple of messages here from people in the company. First up being Satya Nadella, who of course is the head of Microsoft. And, you know, the thing about Satya, whenever he's talking about all this stuff, this nigga don't really care about it, man. Like, he's just taking all the cliff notes that other people have compiled for him and just speaking about it from a CEO point of view. Like, all of this stuff here comes off as very, and I hate to say this because everyone's been saying it, but it comes off as like, nigga, like, you put this shit in AI and they wrote that for you. You know, you just took a couple of things about the people and you know them, and then you go from there. It's less about why this person is great for this role and more about what they can do in terms of like, oh, this and that for the business and blah, blah, blah. You know, even though Xbox, compared to, not to say that other pillars of technology don't have really passionate people working in them, because they do. But obviously, when it comes to gaming, you can tell that there's a lot more passion attached to that unfortunately a lot of these people who are number crunchers at these big corporations, they don't realize. You know, there's an art component to this. More so, and there are people who are way more passionate about that art component than they are from the financial side of things. So gaming as an art form and gaming as a business have always butted heads, because there's a lot of things that, you know, from an artistic point of view, don't make a lot of money, versus a lot of things that make a lot of money from a business point of view, but they aren't what people would necessarily call pushing the artistic medium. But regardless, he's talking about her position at the companies, you know, over the last 2 years at Microsoft. She's previously had COO positions at Instacart, vice president at Meta. She's helped build and scale services that reach billions of people, support thriving consumer and developer ecosystems. She brings experience building, growing platforms, aligning business models, operating a global scale, critical in leading our gaming business in its next era of growth. This right here is probably the most important thing to take away about Asha and why she was selected for her role at Microsoft Gaming. I'll touch more on the AI stuff later, but this right here, extremely important. Matt Booty will continue to fail upwards into his EVP role and Chief Content Officer, reporting to Asha. Blah, 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 blah. Together, Asha and Matt have the right combination of consumer product leadership and gaming dev to push our platform innovation and content pipeline forward. That's also something that is a little important, because Asha doesn't really have a foot in gaming. You know, she's worked in the tech world, but gaming, as we guys know, is completely different. So for her to work with someone like Matt Booty, who, again, a lot of us question, what is it you do here, Mr. Booty? That's at least better than just her going into this role with maybe another person from the outside who doesn't understand anything at gaming. So yeah, they're going to be in this company together on their new roles. We thank Phil for what he's done. And now here's Uncle Phil's message, Uncle Phil's retirement quote. When I walked through Microsoft's doors as an intern in June of 1988, that's insane, bro. That's before I was born. I could have never imagined the products I'd help build, the players and customers we'd serve, or the extraordinary teams I'd be lucky enough to join. It's been an epic ride and truly the privilege of a lifetime. Last fall, I shared with Satya that I was thinking about stepping back and starting the next chapter of my life. From that moment, we aligned on approaching this transition with intention, ensuring stability, and strengthening the foundation we've built. Xbox has always been more than a business. It's a vibrant community of players, creators, and teams who care deeply about what we build and how we build it, and it deserves a thoughtful, deliberate plan for the road ahead. Again, going back to what I was saying before, how, yes, all this stuff is a business at the end of the day, but there's definitely more of an artful love when it comes to video gaming that goes beyond just number crunching and looking at a balance sheet. You know, they're like, these people who are making this stuff genuinely care. Today marks an exciting new chapter for Microsoft Gaming as Asha Sharma steps into the role of CEO, and I want to be the first to welcome her to this incredible team. Working with her over the past several months has given me tremendous confidence. She brings genuine curiosity, clarity, and a deep commitment to understanding players, creators, and the decisions that shape our future. We know this is an important moment for our fans, partners, and teams, and we're committed to getting it right. I will remain in an advisory role through the summer to support a smooth handoff. Advisory role, not CEO role, an advisory role. Asha is starting her tenure this Monday. That's crazy, bro. I'm also grateful for the strength of our studio organizations. Matt Booty and our studio teams continue to build an incredible portfolio, and I have full confidence in the leadership and creative momentum across our global studios. I want to congratulate Matt on failing upwards into his position as EVP and Chief Content Officer. Juicy stuff. As part of this transition, Sarah Bond has decided to leave Microsoft to begin a new chapter. Sarah has been instrumental during a defining period of Xbox, shaping our platform strategy, expanding Game Pass and cloud gaming, supporting new hardware launches, and guiding some of the most significant moments in our history. I'm grateful for her partnership and the impact she's had, and I wish her the very best in what comes next. And we got something else to talk about with Sarah Bond a little later. Most of all, thank you to everyone in Microsoft Gaming. I want to say thank you. I've learned so much from this team, community, grown alongside you, continually inspired by the creativity, courage, and care you bring to players, creators, and to one another every day. I'm proud of what we built over the last 25 years, got confidence and opportunities ahead. I'll be cheering in this next chapter. Signing off, Phil, Xbox P3. So, I mean, disregarding Satya's statement, like I said, the only thing we pulled from that was Asha and why she was hired, which, again, a lot of people are kind of dismissing all of that because they look at it as, well, she was an executive in an AI field. That means that the brand is going to be doomed because there's going to be an over-reliance on AI. Maybe. Possibly. But there's also other things that she's done at other companies that would give Satya some more reasoning as to why he wants to implant her over somebody like a Sarah Bond. There's a lot of juicy, controversial stuff with this decision. So Asha's message right here, and then we'll get on to our own commentary. I begin my role as the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. Oh, so not even Monday. She's starting now, right before the weekend. That's crazy. Could you imagine? That's like, yeah, I'm the CEO of the company, and then as she closes her laptop for the day, you can't reach her with no emails until Monday morning. I feel two things at once: humility and urgency. Humility because this team has built something extraordinary over decades. Urgency because gaming is in a period of rapid change and we need to move with clarity and conviction. I'm stepping into work shaped by generations of artists, engineers, designers, writers, musicians, operators, and more who create worlds that have brought joy and deep personal meaning to hundreds of millions of players. The level of craft here is exceptional and is amplified by Xbox, which is founded in the belief that the power of games connects people and pushes the industry forward. Thank you to Phil for his leadership. The studios, platforms, operation teams that built this were stewards of the most loved stories and characters in entertainment. They bring players together, community and gaming, entirely new ways. My first job is simple: understand what makes this work and protect it. This starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. Great games are beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable character stories, innovative gameplay, creative excellence will empower our studios, invest in franchises, back bold new ideas, take risks, enter new categories and market where we can add real value, grounded in what players care about. I promoted Matt Booty upwards in honor of his commitment. Booty understands the craft and challenges of building booty games, has led booty teams to deliver booty-winning work, and has earned the trust of game developers across the industry. Second, the return of Xbox. What does that mean? The return of Xbox? Where did it go? We will recommit to our core Xbox fans and players, those who invested with us for the past 25 years, and the developers who build the expansive universes and experiences that are embraced by players across the world. We'll celebrate our roots with a renewed commitment to Xbox, starting with the console, which has shaped where we are. It connects players and fans who invest in Xbox and to developers who build ambitious experiences. Gaming lives across all devices, not within the limits of any single piece of hardware. As we expand across PC, mobile, and cloud, Xbox should feel seamless, instant, and worthy of commitment we serve. We'll break down barriers so developers can build once and reach players without compromise. The third, future of play. We are witnessing the reinvention of play. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds people love, but we will not treat those worlds as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and create and share their own stories. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Ooh, that is a jab against Satya. Oh my God. Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. The next 25 years belong to the teams who dare to build something surprising, something no one is willing to try, and have the patience to see it through. We've done this before, and I'm here to help us do it again. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not. Thank you for welcoming me into this journey, Asha. We don't care about you, Matt Booty. And that's her and Matt Booty right there. Okay, so a couple of things to glean from this. First off, compare her message and how it actually goes into shit by comparison to Satya's AI written garbage. Like, dude, there's a huge difference between how she writes and how Phil writes. And like I said before, when it comes down to a lot of these discussions, you kind of have to, first off, take them with a grain of salt. All of these are carefully written, carefully reviewed corporate pieces. This is stuff that goes far beyond like, yeah, I think that's good. This is stuff that has been through constant revision, and there's a reasoning as to why they say certain words. Another thing, as we have learned from the past, well, most of us have been following gaming news for like, what, over a decade now. You gotta take these people at face value on what they're saying, and you just let their actions speak. because all of this stuff sounds great on paper. Like, yeah, we're committed to the studios, no soulless AI slop here, reinvent Xbox, reinvention of play, the future of play. When we all play, we all win, all that kumbaya mumbo jumbo. That stuff sounds great on paper. But as we've seen, especially in the past couple of years of Xbox, your words are one thing, your actions tell a completely different story. I mean, it's just 4 games, and then where that goes from there. The whole exclusivity and will games remain exclusive. So while this stuff all sounds great, and I'm going to give Asha Sharma the benefit of the doubt as a CEO, give her grace to see where she goes and where she takes Xbox, I'm not holding my breath that it's going to be this optimistic future just based off of what the brand has been subjugated to for the past couple of years. How many times that this company has pivoted. And based off of everything that we are learning today on how they just announced this. Like, okay, let's first, so as we get into the commentary, let's look at how they announced everything. On a Friday afternoon, they announced that the CEO of one of their bigger divisions is retiring. The person who we assumed would be following into that role, Sarah Bond, she's resigning. We're going to install this new CEO basically effectively immediately. And period, point blank, that's it. Have a nice day. This is something that I've seen done in the media. When it comes down to news, most of the newest stuff like this, like new groundbreaking announcements, is usually done in the beginning of the week towards the middle of the week, not towards the end of the work week. I don't know if they're trying to soften the blow because most people are going to be doing other stuff on the weekend or whatever, but it was so weird to me that they announced the retirement of their CEO effectively immediately. Like, there's no transitionary period to help steer the ship. There's none of that stuff over the next 3 to 6 months. Like, case in point, when Bob Iger at Disney, when he retired for the first time, because he's retired twice, when he retired for the first time and he announced that his successor would be the unfortunate Bob Chapek, there was a period of time where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to still run the company. I'm going to do this till the end of the year, and then this guy's going to take over, right? When Bob Iger announced that he'd be retiring for the second time, and then the other person came in, the 2 CEOs came in, case in point, there was a long period where it's like, hey, we're going to let this guy do his thing and everything, but I'm going to steer the ship until I'm ready to go. So for them to do this, it just, to me, it comes off as very weird. I don't know if maybe they had been prepping all this stuff behind the scenes, and that's the reason why it comes off as very abrupt to us on the outside, but on the inside, it's like, no, we've been prepping for this, because Phil did say, I've been working with Asha for the past couple months. I don't know. It sounds very strange, because everything with Xbox over, well, this entire generation has been weird, but especially since the ABK acquisition, we started to notice the company, specifically like the leadership team of Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, you can even throw Aaron Greenberg in there. They weren't being as vocal as they once were. They weren't really like being as transparent as they were before. A lot of the things that they were talking about didn't seem so concrete anymore. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that with the acquisition of ABK, there are new people in charge. Now, obviously, if you look at it, if you zoom out, Microsoft has always been in charge of Xbox. That's true because they created this division. Of course, they're going to own it. But if you look at how Xbox has been run for the better part of the last, before the past couple of years, like the past 20 years, Xbox has kind of been allowed to do its own thing for better or for worse. You know, the first Xbox came out, it was the most advanced console ever created. It introduced so much stuff that had not been in a game console before, but it was a net loss for the company. You feel me? But they were willing to take the loss because they managed to get into the gaming space. In their first console generation, they were able to sell more than 20 million units, which is crazy. They basically sold on par, if not more, with relevance because they had a game like Halo than the next leading competitor, which was Nintendo. And then, of course, there's PlayStation 2 all the way over 120 million. But still, for a first foray into the gaming market, not bad at all. Then they come out with the Xbox 360, and even though in the end the PlayStation 3 was able to squeak out the last couple of sales and be the higher of the two selling consoles. Of course, the Wii is all the way up there. The Xbox 360 was the dominant conversation for that generation. It's like, if you were playing video games 9 times out of 10, you were talking about Xbox 360. The biggest games were coming out on Xbox 360. And unless you were a person who really lived and died by Sony exclusives or Japanese games, people weren't really fucking with the PS3 like that. There were so many issues with it. But, of course, there was the debacle of the Red Ring of Death. There was Microsoft shifting their focus away from the core gamer to the casual with the back half of the Xbox 360, and we saw what that did to them with the launch of the Xbox One. However, Microsoft really didn't have much of a play when it came to those consoles. They were let Xbox do what they do. About the time of the Xbox One, which a lot of people do not realize, the Xbox One, that generation, it was dangerously close to being closed, the entire Xbox division, because there was the disaster of the reveal. There was the fact that the console really wasn't selling that well for the first couple of years. And it wasn't until someone like Phil Spencer got in there and tried his damned best to convince Microsoft to not shut down Xbox, that's when the division started to turn around. Unfortunately, it was too little, too late, because PlayStation 4 was a dominant console. People were establishing their digital footprint in their ecosystem. And you just saw that Xbox just didn't really have anything compelling for people. It had the weakest console of the bunch. You know, if we're talking about the two competitors competing, weaker console of the bunch. It was the more expensive console of the bunch. It didn't have anything in the way of like great first-party exclusives that could make an impact. And some of their legacy titles like Halo, Gears, and Forza, it was just business as usual. You know, another Forza game. Cool, it's great. Played that before on the 360. Gears of War, cool, great. Not doing anything groundbreaking. Halo 343. That's all I gotta say. But in the case of the brand itself, it was basically left to do its own thing until Phil Spencer got in there. And this is where the whole Phil Spencer thing kind of bothers me, because okay, so Phil Spencer deserves a lot of criticism as a head of a company. Like I said, he's been the longest tenure for a gaming CEO, right, in that position. And he's had so many opportunities to really turn the brand around. But he was turning the brand around at like the slowest of slow paces, man. Like, the PlayStation 3 was a complete disaster for Sony. They were able to turn it around halfway through the console generation and then into the new one with the PS4. With the Xbox One, I mean, listen, I get it. The Xbox brand had been hampered by the reveal. They really had no great support from Microsoft, but I feel like the brand could have done so much more than what they did. We start to see the fruits of that with the Xbox Series consoles. There was genuine momentum with the brand again. People were excited, and I'm sure you guys remember. Back when the Xbox Series consoles were getting ready to come out, that first year or two was the most enthusiastic people were for the Xbox brand. You know, when you strip away the acquisition talk and Game Pass this and Game Pass that, people were excited about Xbox again. They were like, oh my God, is this an Xbox that's actually going to compete again? And then you have the full backing of Microsoft and they're acquiring all these studios. Are we going to get an Xbox that's actually going to compete with Sony instead of just stepping on the rake every other opportunity they get? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. So, Phil Spencer, he deserves a lot of flack for some of the mistakes he made, but at the same time, had we not had somebody like Phil Spencer, the brand would have been dead. Microsoft was talking internally about really either spinning off the Xbox brand and letting somebody else buying it, or just closing it completely, because they've never made substantial money on it. All they really got from the Xbox brand was just a foothold in the gaming space. You know, they made some money on the 360, but when you factor in the Red Ring of Death and what that did to their bottom line, catastrophic. So they had a really hard decision to make in the mid-2010s. Phil Spencer came in and he found a way to secure funding for studios, to buy studios, and he was able to convince Satya about this Xbox Game Pass plan, which is falling in line with the subscription services and all the stuff that all the companies were all gung-ho about towards the end of the 2010s. So, you know, a lot of the stuff there was poised to benefit Microsoft, but when Phil Spencer said, hey, listen, we got to acquire ABK, that is when Microsoft took a real vested interest in the company of Xbox, because it was no longer just, this is a cute little passion project where we earn a couple of dollars here and there. No. You're spending $70 billion. You're dragging this out through a legal procedure for 2 years straight. What is happening here, bro? And unfortunately, in the first year or so that they acquire the brand, ABK is not doing that well for them. Call of Duty being the main defining factor of what could bolster and really make this Game Pass plan work. The Call of Duties that they put out are not the greatest, you know? Case in point, with the last Call of Duty being an extreme underperformer, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, not the other Modern Warfare 3, but the new one, being one of the worst CODs in the franchise. Like, sure, Call of Duty is still doing well from a monetary standpoint, but not to the point of, hey, we just spent $70 billion on this. So when you have people like Satya, who all they see are the balance sheets, their bean counters, they're looking at how much money this brand is now hemorrhaging. They're going to start being like, oh, okay, wait a minute. We're doing what? We spent how much on this money doing this? And we're not doing anything? No. We got to go ahead and switch gears. Now, what did switch gears look like? Well, Xbox has now pivoted this is about to be the third pivot they do this generation, okay? Because it started out being that, listen, this is going to be the console that you buy to play exclusive games on a console. PC, of course, you have Steam and you have the Xbox Store, but if you're on a console, this is about providing exclusive value to you. They switched gears a few years later when they started to put games on multi-platforms. Project Latitude started out as just 4 games, nothing crazy, and then the floodgates opened to the point where, yeah, listen, everything is multi-platform, right? That fundamental change, I personally believe, was the beginning of the end for the Xbox brand. Because now, with ABK and Microsoft having a close eye on Xbox, there are margins that need to be hit. And these are margins that these companies are not going to, especially in the era of AI, in the era of inflation, in the era of everything being so expensive. These companies are not going to ignore anymore. Xbox is no longer a blip on Microsoft's balance sheet. It is now a pillar. We spent all this money. We want to make some money back. How do you do that? Well, you have to gain more revenue. How do you gain more revenue? It's clear that the Xbox consoles aren't selling. So what's the next best move? We put our Xbox products on different devices. So Xbox goes from console to PC to now smartphone, from smartphone to TVs, from TVs to fridges, from fridges to smartwatches. Wherever you can get a screen with internet, we're going to put Xbox games on there. But it's just streaming. No biggie. Not a big deal. It's streaming. When it comes to products and services, guys, the end goal is to be everywhere as soon as possible, with as much outreach as possible. And there's only 2 platforms where they're going to get that type of money. You're already on PC. You already put your games on Steam. It's Nintendo and PlayStation. Hence why Project Latitude was never going to be just 4 games. Anybody who thought it was just 4 games was fooling themselves. We all knew the second they started to put these games on other systems, it was the beginning of the end. Sure, it might be like a test bed, but it was going to happen, because what happens when you put games on other platforms? Even if the games aren't selling that well, that's still extra money in your pocket. Games like Forza Horizon, games like Sea of Thieves performed incredible on PlayStation. Old ass games. So you're looking at all this revenue that comes in, and you're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Everything's gonna go. You know, all those Bethesda games that we said were exclusive, no, that's coming over to PlayStation. All these little indie passion projects, that's going on to the Switch too. And then the crown jewel, Halo. Halo coming to PlayStation, man. At that point, it's like Xbox is not a console anymore. Xbox is just a platform where you can deliver these games. You become a big third-party publisher. And even though the era of exclusivity is dying, we all know that there's only a couple of players in the field. Even though that is the case, I know that burns someone like Phil, who spent all these years trying to revive the console brand. Because the thing about consoles, a lot of people don't realize that even though, yes, the majority of the gamers out there who buy consoles, they play third-party games like GTAs, the Fortnites, things like that. But if you're talking about the differentiating factor on why someone would stay with a brand, For a lot of people, it's exclusives. And we're seeing now when it comes to console exclusives, they're not selling like the 1-2 million that they used to. A lot of these games are selling upwards of 10 plus million, 15 plus million. That stuff becomes icing on the cake for why someone would want to continue investing in an ecosystem. And when you take that away from a gamer and say, hey, well, that game's going to come to your platform anyways, at that point, it's like, well, why do I even want to buy an Xbox console? So you could really say that the problem with this started back in 2016 when they put Quantum Break on PC, because that was technically the beginning of the end. Because if you were a PlayStation gamer who had a gaming PC, why in the world would you buy an Xbox console? Unless you really didn't fuck with gaming PCs to the point where you had to keep upgrading your graphics card like every 5-6 years, you'd be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy the Xbox games on PC. I'm still supporting Microsoft. But that is where it started in terms of people not giving a fuck about the Xbox console brand, because Xbox was always a console. It was not this, my TV is an Xbox, my smartwatch is an Xbox, my girl's vibrator is an Xbox. It was never that. But they were trying to sell it on it. Okay? So I know right then and there, someone like Phil, who spent all this time, I know that pissed him off. And again, you just got to look at all of the interviews and stuff that Phil has done. You see that man's demeanor change in the past couple of years. You look at Sarah Bond in some of the first interviews she did as the president of Xbox, you see that woman's demeanor change. Like, I genuinely don't think these people are that happy. Not necessarily the fact that the game's multi-platform, but because the mandates are coming from up top. Like, their power is basically been reduced to just figureheads. You know, you can come on here and do your little cutesy shit here and there. You can put out a game from Double Fine and we'll support that. But at the end of the day, we want to see returns on our investment. And if I was a betting man, I would think that Phil Spencer was going to retire within the next 1 to 2 years. By the time the new Xbox console comes out or the 25th anniversary, it was time for Phil to retire. It is what it is, right? He's been with the company long enough. He's had his tenure. Great legacy. But for him to go right now in the first 2 months of the 25th anniversary, not even wait until the very end, signals to me that we are going to get another pivot for Xbox. And the generation that we anticipated of what it was going to look like, this hybrid PC/console approach or whatever, I think we're still going to get that, but the way the delivery method and the mechanism of everything that's going to be happening, the messaging over the next couple of years is going to be radically different. And I think that's why Sarah Bond quit the company. Because Sarah Bond, if you're looking at this announcement, bro, this announcement, what I just showed you guys from the Microsoft blog, Satya did a message, Phil did a message, Asha did a message, Matt Booty did a message. There was one person who was missing from that list, and that was Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond, who's the president of Xbox. She basically has the job that Phil Spencer had a few years ago before he became the CEO of Microsoft Gaming. You would think that the person who, for all intents and purposes, is about to become the next head of all of Microsoft Gaming, Sarah Bond, that's something that she was groomed for. Like when we first heard about Sarah Bond, and then when she got promoted, bro, she was everywhere with Phil. She was taking trips with Phil. They were going to Japan. They were talking about like everything. Like she started showing up on all the like the developer directs and the showcases and everything. And all, wherever there was public facing stuff, Sarah Bond was there. So a lot of us figured that, oh, Sarah Bond is probably going to replace Phil when he retires. Okay, it's logical. It's logical. So for her to not only not get that job, but for somebody else who has never been in gaming to be promoted to the head of Microsoft Gaming, I know Sarah's felt a type of way. And it took hours for us to get an actual statement for her, but we did get one eventually from her, I believe it was on her LinkedIn. I have the post over here from courtesy of Tom Warren. But yeah, I'm just going to quickly summarize all this stuff. She's talking about, you know, like her time at Xbox and everything. She's proud of everything that we've built, ABK. She decided this is the right time for her to take the next step personally and professionally, transformative generation. She's going to remain on as a special advisor to Asha to ensure a smooth transition and set up the organization. She thanks Phil for the mentorship and everything. She praises Asha for what she's about to do. But this part is what's really fascinating to me. As I prepare to sign off, I've been reflecting on 3 simple questions I've tried to use to guide my days. Did I bring my best? Did I help someone else succeed? Did I do my best work? I hope the answer has been yes for many of you. It's been a privilege to work alongside the team. Always, Sarah. I don't know about you guys, but that does not read like the farewell letter of someone who is happily exiting a company. Am I off base here, guys? Because reading that, it just sounds like, without having to say it, them niggas don't fuck with me, bro. So I'm getting out while the getting's good. Every single time that we have seen Sarah, she's always been positive and gung-ho about Xbox. Now, granted, Sarah doesn't have like a crazy gaming background like everybody else we've talked about, but you could see genuinely like she was always positive about stuff. Like case in point, she would always talk about how like her trips to Japan and everything and just working with the creators and all that stuff. Like, the thing about Xbox that a lot of people don't understand is, yes, you could say that, okay, these are all corporate executives at the end of the day. They're not your friends. Absolutely. But like, let's be real about life for a second. Someone like Phil Spencer was really plugged into the community. When we would get on here and say that, what is one of Xbox's biggest problems in attracting new gamers? Well, they don't have a foothold in Japan. Xbox abandoned the Japanese market at the end of the 360. They have not had a presence there. Japanese gamers don't fuck with Xbox. So what did they do? At the launch of the series consoles, they made a genuine effort to do better in Japan. And they actually did in the very beginning. I'm not saying that they were putting up like PlayStation or Switch numbers, but they were doing way better than they had before. And then all that support just fell off a cliff. However, they still went out there and secured Japanese support. There are now more Japanese games on an Xbox platform than there have been in 20 years. They brought a lot of the Sega games back to Xbox. We have more JRPGs on Xbox. You know, Square Enix is putting out their multi-platform games on Xbox. It's not perfect. If you want to play all these Japanese games, you either got to get a PC or get a PlayStation or Switch. But they have Persona. They have Yakuza. They're getting a lot of games that previously weren't on the platform. They have all the... Funny enough, the Final Fantasy series, if you want to play every single mainline Final Fantasy game on a console, the Xbox series is the best way to play it because it has every single mainline game because it has the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy backwards compatible. You know, they have a lot of games on the system now that they didn't before. And that's purely because Phil was plugged into the community. He even went on video saying, like, guys, I hear you. You know, I'm taking these trips to Japan. I'm doing all this stuff. He worked, he brokered Game Pass deals to bring the franchises over. Like, he did the good stuff. Now, did that matter in the grand scheme of things? Unfortunately, it didn't because Xbox pivoted everything. But when you look at what they did, like, these people genuinely cared about catering to the community. You know, FanFest, doing things like that. And in the past, like, 2 years or so, we've seen that shit literally shift like a 180. 180, man, like canceling FanFest, you know, not doing any in-person stuff. Like, it's just so fucking weird. It became more soulless. And again, I don't know if that's because Microsoft and Satya just don't want to do that shit anymore, or Phil and these people just don't have the power anymore to do some stuff like that. I don't know. But her statement over here, bro, this does not read to me like somebody who is happy to leave this company. I have the feeling that Sarah Bond she thought that she was poised to replace Phil. They said, no, we're not going to go with you. So if you want to resign, you can resign. We're going to make it look nice and neat. You can leave. Or we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that you are going to quit. And honestly, if you are someone who had a vision for a company, you and Phil, and this company has been basically forced to change a lot of different things, you have a lot of different mandates, why would you want to still stay on board at that company if you can't execute that vision? So from Sarah's point of view, I would leave too. I would leave too if I can't execute what I wanted to do to shape that next generation. But man, this just reads as very depressing to me, man. And to do it during Black History Month, no less, that is insane, bro. That is insane. But yeah, that's just, wow. But yeah, just speaking to shift gears, talking about Asha Sharma for a second. I mentioned something earlier up top about why she got this role. And we're having like an intellectual debate and conversation on this. Like, I know a lot of people are getting into conspiracy theories that, oh, Satya is just promoting one of his own, or, you know, it's just another DEI hire, blah, 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 blah. Like, people who are really saying shit like that, like, we know they were the folk who sat in the back of the classroom eating paste, and that was voluntarily. But why would she get hired from this role? You know, someone who doesn't have any gaming experience. Is it an oversight on Satya to basically plant this person in there? Someone who's basically a puppet head that he can control to execute whatever vision he thinks is good for the company? Maybe. Sure. I don't know. Because, you know, there's crazier things that have happened at these corporations. But based off of what I know about Asha, her history at other companies, what she's done at those other companies, and what Satya specifically said, she brings deep experience building and growing platforms, aligning business models to long-term value, operating at a global scale, critical and leading gaming business to the next era of growth. And like I said, you don't got to agree with this whatsoever. But what has been the thing that has been hampering Xbox for the past couple of years in the eyes of Microsoft? It's the fact that they spent all of this money acquiring studios, reinvesting in the brand, all of this money, and they're not seeing any type of sizable growth. They aren't. Console sales have basically flown off the cliff at max speed. People aren't buying the consoles anymore, and part of that is due to the fact that the consoles are now, what, if you want to get an Xbox Series X, isn't it like $650, $700 plus? That's crazy. That factored in with how they're not gaining as much revenue as what they've wanted. You're looking at this from that point of view of Microsoft, a company who, we want to get money fast. We want to get money fast. What has this Asha chick done? What she's done and worked at other companies like Meta with Messenger, she's able to scale up their operations. What she's done at Instacart, scale up their operations to profitability. All of these things, doing stuff that provide value and get things profitable in a short amount of time that she spent at those companies. So if you're somebody like Satya and you're looking for someone who can do that stuff, you're going to go with them over someone you already have in the ecosystem who's not doing what they're supposed to. Whether we like it or not, and again, I'm not agreeing with this. These companies are going to do things that makes the best sense fiscally. That doesn't always work out, as we've seen before, because chasing trends, we see the whole AI bubbles bursting and it's just exploding right before their eyes. But in terms of trying to right the ship towards sustainability and profitability and all that stuff, that's why they would want to have somebody like her in charge, because of what she's done and her track record. Now, I don't know how that's going to translate in terms of like what you did at Meta and Instacart to something like gaming, which is very, very, gamers are fucking passionate as hell. And all it takes is just a really bad showing of something to basically make it so like, yo, we don't fuck with you anymore. Like High Guard, for example. High Guard wasn't even the worst game that came out, but the bad buzz around it surrounding just how it was unveiled, and also the fact that as a game itself, it wasn't doing anything crazy groundbreaking. It made people just be like, no, we're not going to fuck with it. Gaming is in a very turbulent point right now. And you have to have somebody who can understand the business. That's what worries me the most, because someone like Satya doesn't understand the business. He just understands things that make money. And we look at all the other Microsoft divisions and how they've been run. And sometimes it's not just all about money, man. You can't force Copilot into everything, Satya. It is not going to work. Stop trying to make Copilot happen, please. But we'll see. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to give Asha some grace because she is a new CEO. We need to see what she does. If we start seeing stuff within, I want to say year 2, because all the stuff that's happening now is stuff that's been put into place years ago, that from Phil Spencer's tenure, Sarah Bond's tenure. So we're not really going to see the effects of what Asha does until like next year and the year after. Unless there's like some short-term things that we can see and judge based off that. But I'm willing to give her grace and see where it goes. But if we start here, basically when we get to the 25th anniversary and we can see the trajectory of where the brand is going and what it's going to look like, because that's the biggest thing that we still don't know. Like, what is Xbox going to look like with this new generation? We know there's the reports of Xbox, was it Project Magnus or whatever, that's going to be some type of a hybrid console PC where it's going to have the full screen Xbox Windows experience, but streamlined for a console. You're going to have some type of backwards compatibility to play your entire backlog of generational consoles from 360, Xbox One's limited support, and of course the Series console and Xbox One. But to see what that looks like, because you're talking about this, you're basically talking about something that's never been done before. Having a console-like experience that's basically a PC from a major manufacturer, and you're just putting that as a set-top box. What is the price going to look like? Is this going to end up becoming an enthusiast device? Because if you're talking about it essentially being a PC that runs an Xbox shell, if you will, that's going to be pretty pricey. And in the era of RAM shortages and how expensive things already are for stuff that's like 5-6 years old, that console is going to cost a pretty penny. And is Microsoft going to want to subsidize something like that just to get it into the living room? Or are they going to just look at it as, well, you know, the hardcore masses will buy it, and if we'll get other manufacturers to use this and then sell it, and those could be Xboxes, then everything is an Xbox. It's like Syndrome, basically. You know, when everybody's super, nobody will be. I don't know. I mean, that's what the Xbox 25th anniversary is going to tell us. But basically, to wrap everything up and put a nice, neat little bow on it, I'm going to give Asha grace. I want to see where she's going to take the brand. I'm going to give her the same grace that I gave somebody like Jim Ryan and Herman Holst. And we saw how that turned out, but that's just who I am as a person. I like to give people grace. But I can't exactly say I am extremely optimistic just because of all the pivots Xbox has had in this generation alone, man. Like, I came back on board with Xbox with the Xbox One X, right? I was so happy with the console. I got the Series X day one from Microsoft. I loved it. I loved the direction they were going because, you know, they were competing and they were doing all the right things. And then we just saw them shift to the point where, you know, the brand is something completely different, which, again, depending on who you ask, it could be a good thing. But when there's no type of long-term vision for a company, that's what bothers me, because vision is extremely important. It's part of the reason why, you know, up until quite recently, the differentiating factor between how PlayStation put out first-party games and how Xbox put out first-party games was that PlayStation had a vision. If you look at how PlayStation executed on their vision in the PS4 era, once they got over the first 3 years, it was banger after banger after banger after banger. You might not like the games they put out, but that's irrelevant. They were putting out banger after banger, new IPs that were selling millions upon millions of units, you know, reinvigorating franchises. People were loving it. They were at the top of their game. And when you compare that to how Xbox handled their portfolio, it just seemed like they didn't have an eye for quality, right? Now, fast forward to this generation, there's too many studios to manage. And there's too many games coming out. And you wonder, like, what is the vision of this company? Like, at first you're going to do this, then you pivot to that. It's like, where are we going with this? You know? Like, I don't know. Maybe the ship just became too big to manage in a short amount of time. Going from having like 4 or 5 studios to running like, what 30,000 plus people, something crazy like that. Maybe that was just too big of an operation, man. Merging all these companies together, merging publishers together. Maybe it's a Herculean task that they couldn't deal with. But regardless, I'm still interested to see what happens. I want to see what it's going to be. You know, maybe it might just be the equivalent of just watching a bad car crash. You know, you're driving slow. They say you're not supposed to do that, but you're driving slow just to see what's happening. You just want to see where it goes, man. Because it's like, someone like Phil Spencer, for all the crap that he gets, some rightfully so, others not so much, it genuinely seemed like he was a good dude. Like, I had never heard anything bad about Phil Spencer. You hear all the crazy stuff come out about people like Jim Ryan, how, like, you know, people like freaking Phil Harrison, the guy who was running PlayStation for a time. I think he ran Xbox for a time too. Or no, he ran something else. But, you know, you hear all these things about certain executives come out. You never hear anything bad come out about Phil Spencer. Everybody just generally seems like they like the dude. And what kind of scares me is that in an era where everything is balance sheet focused to a crazy degree, are certain studios at Xbox going to be able to thrive? Someone like Double Fine, I am very worried about, because Double Fine is like, when Sean Layden talked about games like Vib Ribbon and how they might not make a lot of money, he would say that, you know, if we put out 10 games and 9 out of them underperform, but that one game does really well, that's what makes us create those other 9 games and experiment. All this talk from Asha is good about breaking boundaries and being bold and taking risks. But is a company like Double Fine going to still be able to take risks if their games keep underperforming? You know, their last major game that they put out was Psychonauts 2. Like the last game where people were like, oh, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And ever since then, it's just been like smaller things like Keeper, and they have this pottery game coming out. Like, under this regime of Microsoft, are those games going to thrive? That's why I say having someone who can execute a long-term vision is extremely important. And someone like Phil Spencer, great guy, really great guy, I don't think that he was the right person to maybe execute that vision. He was probably a great guy to support all the studios, but you still need to have long-term vision. You feel me? It can't just be like, oh, we're coming out with all these games and all these studios, and then there's no quality control on top of that. That's another thing. Like, Phil, Redfall, my guy. Listen, we all have blunders in our resume, but how do you look at that shit and be like, that's the one? That's the one, bro. Like, how does a game like Redfall fall through the cracks? You feel me? Like, I understand you want to give developers autonomy or whatever in some situations, but then sometimes you got to pull a Shuhei Yoshida. Like Shuhei Yoshida, when he went ahead and God of War 2018, how like when he went to test the game before it was supposed to come out, a couple years before it was supposed to come out, he was saying like, nah, you got to put that shit back in the pot. You got to recook this because I'm not liking how it's playing. You know, sometimes you gotta make the hard decisions. You have to execute those decisions to get a great product. And I'm looking at Redfall, and Phil Spencer honestly looked at Redfall and just was like, yeah, that's it. That's a problem, bro. That's a problem. So I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, Phil was definitely a nice guy. Phil protected a lot of these studios. And that's what worries me with someone like him being out of the company. You know, even if he wasn't perfect with his execution, having someone like Phil who can look at something like a Double Fine and realize that, yeah, you're not going to be our most profitable studio, but we need players like you in the game, no pun intended. That is what worries me the most. We have a $5 super check coming in from the homie. Where's the from the homie Marcus Dorotell for real. He says, I'm legit terrified about the future of gaming. We don't have gamers running these companies, just corporate suits. How you feeling going forward? Well, yeah, we're getting into that right now. I mean, I'm interested from the POV that, you know, something like this, it's literally a completely different Xbox now. Completely different Xbox, devoid of a lot of the people that helped to build it. I want to see where it goes in a bad car crash sort of way. Like, I can't help but look away, you guys. I need to see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, the people at Xbox in terms of, like Aaron Greenberg, people running the socials, media, all those folks, they seem to be saying good things. But again, you got to take all those with a grain of salt. You feel me? It's not like, oh, we can take all their words for granted and go from there. It's like, no. You have to wait and see how things unfold. If we start seeing a mass exodus from other people across other studios, yeah, that might be a sign. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things to consider in this situation. Fundamentally, it could be a completely different Xbox as we know it compared to now. You know, what is Xbox defined by now? Xbox is now a multi-platform third-party publisher that happens to publish games on Xbox Game Pass. That's another thing. I see a lot of people. Let's pull back the statement from what Asha said. She was saying how the 3 pillars, what she wants to do. She wants great games, the return of Xbox, the future of play. So a lot of people are taking the return of Xbox, the return of Xbox as, oh, you know, she's gonna go back to making Xbox a first party publisher on their own system, not multi-platform. They're not going to put games on PlayStation and Switch. Guys, that ship has long sailed. Once you open the genie and the genie's out of the bottle and you start seeing that money come in, it is not going back in that fucking bottle. I am sorry, you guys. As someone who really wanted Xbox to compete in the traditional sense, bar some crazy divine miracle where they retrain their audiences to buy a console to buy games, it's not going to happen. The console is freaking $700 for the one that most people would buy. The cheapest one is now like what, $400+. People are used to buying Game Pass. You're not going to get those games exclusively on Xbox anymore. They need the games to sell. There's that 30% margin report that was going around that all these studios have to hit. How in the world are they going to hit those metrics by just having their games on PC and games that are on Xbox Game Pass? If you assume that let's just assume that the majority of people, if you have an Xbox Series console, you're subscribed to Game Pass, why in the world are you going to buy those games a la carte? Especially for the first party ones that stay in the service. You're not going to do that. You're going to stay sub to the service until it hits a breaking point where you just don't want to sub. Like for me, that breaking point was $30 a month. When Xbox announced that Game Pass was $30 a month, I downgraded my membership to the premium, $15 a month, because I don't play nowhere near the amount of games to justify $30 a month on top of all the other games that I try to play nowadays. You feel me? $15, definitely a lot more affordable. But now I got to the point where I'm playing so many JRPGs, I just let my Game Pass subscription lapse. And it's been lapsed for like the past 2 months. Same thing with PlayStation Plus. You know, I'll resub to the services when there's something I want to play genuinely. Like I know when Fable comes out, I'm gonna resub to Game Pass, you know, play the game there. But hypothetically speaking, if let's say for example I'm not really in the market to want to buy new games and I'm playing through other stuff, I could just wait for Fable to go on sale and get it for like $30 and own it and not have to worry about being subbed to Game Pass. But touching more on Game Pass later, the exclusivity thing, we're not going back to that, guys. It's a done deal. They're a third-party publisher, and unless she wants to be like, nah, Satya, I have an idea, I'm up to something, we're gonna get gamers back here, it's not gonna happen, guys. But talking about Game Pass, that is something that so this is where I don't know, you guys, because a lot of people are thinking that, well, if they want to get back to actual profitability, they have to kill Game Pass. Because killing Game Pass, as weird as it sounds, if you kill Game Pass and you get gamers to go back to buying games a la carte, that's going to bump up their revenue a lot. Because now you're going from people being sub to the service for $30 a month to, well, now you have to buy all these games. That's going to produce way more revenue for all these studios and for the company. The problem is that they've trained a lot of their audience for the past 6 years to not buy games a la carte, or at least not buy the first party games a la carte. You'll still buy your third party games like Resident Evil Requiem or, you know, a Monster Hunter or whatever. But now it's basically trained an entire generation of gamers to not buy it. And again, I've always been of the mindset when it comes to Game Pass, I like Game Pass. I enjoy Game Pass. I still buy my games. You feel me? But other people don't. They're now used to it. This is what we call the subscription service generation. There are millions of people who would much rather pay $24 a month on Netflix to never own their content to the end of time. And when something gets taken off the service, boo-hoo, I'll still stay subscribed. Then spending the money to build and curate a physical media collection. I am an anomaly. Even though I'm sub to these services, I still buy my content because I want to own it. Because there are some situations where I just don't want to pay all this money for subscriptions. What they've done with Xbox is they've basically trained people to not spend money on those games. It's a different thing if it's a third-party game. But if you're telling them now that this service that you paid all this money for, all those games are gone, you have to rebuy those games, all the new games going forward, it's not going to happen, man. And after you just jumped up the price of Game Pass from $15, $20 to $30 a month, nah, man, it's not going to happen. So I think Game Pass is going to get a major reinvention. What that looks like, I don't know. If Game Pass is going to become a service where you can get a really good curation of games but it's much cheaper. Basically, like what Game Pass Core is. Like you don't get all the games day one. You get them like what, a year later or some shit like that. I think that that's healthy. I think that that's sustainable for long-term stuff. Like people still buy the games day one, and if they want to wait a year, they can do that. But yeah, man, either way, someone is going to get the short end of the stick in this situation because, you know, similar to the exclusivity argument that you can't put that genie back in the bottle, man. You know, PC gamers don't care. PC gamers, they have Steam. They'll always buy their games. But now with this whole Xbox gamers, it's like, oh, now we have to go back to buying all these games, but you sold us a subscription service for the past 8 years. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? But man, I don't know, man. It's going to be a really interesting era of Xbox and seeing what they do. I mean, I'm hoping for the best because that's just the optimist in me. But it's definitely going to be different, man. I don't know. I really don't know. These are like uncharted waters, you know? No pun intended. If it was a Sony thing, yeah. But these are like uncharted waters, bro. But I'm so excited to see what happens because either the brand is going to become obsolete in the next couple of years, which is sad, but it is exciting though, because it's like, yo, we get to watch the massacre unfold in real time, you guys, in real time. Or we're going to be getting a really cool era of Xbox, which I highly doubt. But regardless, watching the massacre unfold is going to be so cool. But yeah, you guys, what do you guys think about this whole situation? What do you guys think about what's happening with Xbox right now? I know it's all doom and gloom. I know a lot of people just don't give a fuck about Xbox because they haven't been great since the 360 era. And this is just corporate suits taking the reins. What do y'all feel? Let me know, chat. Let me know. Let's discuss. But shout out to everybody who's been joining the stream in between. If you guys are enjoying it, hit that like button. It helps out the channel tremendously. Shout out to the 97 people watching. Appreciate you guys. What's up, Taku? How you doing, my brother? We got Wee Man on Wheels in here. Ouya comeback. Long live the Ouya. Oh my god, bro. Long live the Ouya. Nah, you gotta... Maybe the reason why they got a new CEO was because of the what's it called? The Next Playground. It's like they saw that it outsold the Xbox. They're like, wait, what? No, you gotta go. I think they're cooked for the rest of the generation. Not during Black History Month. I thought the Series X was the strongest console in a different timeline. Their lineup was exclusive. Yeah, that is another thing. And I kept saying that, like, what would Xbox have looked like if they didn't buy ABK and they just stuck to their guns for this entire generation? What would Xbox have looked like if they just used this generation to rebuild the brand and the loyalty, and then they came out swinging with the next gen? I'm not saying like, oh, you can't have a good generation, but if they really hunkered down, they focused on making great games, and they all were exclusive, and then next generation, they come in firing. Like, imagine if we got like a great Halo game. Imagine all of these things, you know? That is the $1 million question. Like, what would have happened, man, in an alternate universe? Because if you had an Xbox console where, and that's the funny thing, because I think this is going to be a really good year for Xbox game-wise, you know? I'm really excited for Fable. I'm excited for Gears E-Day. I'll play the Halo remake, even though I don't have much interest in it, because I want a new, good Halo game. You know, I think it's going to be a good year. You know, they have Forza coming out as well. We're going to get some great games, but imagine if, like, all of that stuff, in addition to all the Bethesda stuff came out, it just remained exclusive, man. Sasha says she wants this sort of renegade Xbox. But what does that look like? You can't, like, what is a renegade Xbox? They talk about reviving the Xbox brand. What do they mean by that? Because Xbox is not competitive anymore. They're putting games on all the other platforms. What does renegade look like? Renegade would be like Xbox recommitting to this exclusive approach and really sticking it to Sony where it hurts. But the time to do that would have been at the start of the generation, instead of all this pivoting stuff that they've done. Oh, ItShape says, one of my favorite things about watching Neo talks, how passionate he is about the subject he talks about. Seeing anyone have as much love and heart for the product is so heartwarming. Oh, thank you. Thank you, It's Shape. I appreciate that, my guy. Hey, Bree. How's it going? I hope the best, but man, it's crazy. Everything on Xbox is, especially getting ad about that on my TV, is wild. Yeah, I think on LG TVs they have a Game Pass app now. I think it's coming to like TCL TVs or something. It's everywhere, man. I think it started out on Samsung TVs. But yeah, it's. I mean, I know you guys you're posting her quotes and the stuff that she's saying, but I want to let the actions speak for themselves, because words are just words when it comes to corporate executives, man. Words are just words. Copilot in every single Xbox game. Could you imagine if you just downloaded the game and then Copilot just boots up in the background? Microsoft Copilot Simulator coming soon. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I need. I mean, I'm not going front. Like, if I really wanted to, I could download the Game Pass app on my TV. Because I did download when I had GeForce Now, I downloaded the app, and that shit is like black magic, bro. It's so cool. But Game Pass streaming is not quite there yet. It's not on that NVIDIA level. So I don't really feel the need to use it. And I'm not subbed to Game Pass anymore. So, you feel me? It makes no sense to just re-download the app. Xbox needs Fusion Frenzy. Yes, they do. No, they need 1 versus 100. They got to bring back 1 versus 100, guys. Like that right there. It's a coincidence that they did 2 generations with no 1 versus 100 game, and look where they're at now. Musty, raggedy. But what do you guys think Xbox realistically needs to do? I'm talking about realistically. I'm not talking about no crazy thing like they got to give us a Voodoo Vince remake or whatever. I'm talking like realistically. What do you guys think they can do to, if not, because it's not about beating PlayStation anymore, but it's about trying to stay relevant, because they've done a lot of damage to the brand in the past couple of years, and they keep doing it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about the cloud. Well, the cloud, my friend, unfortunately is not going anywhere because he has a brand new game coming out. It's called Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I'm at that age where I make dad jokes. I know. But the cloud is going to stay, man. It's always going to be a pillar of these companies because cloud infrastructure is everywhere, whether we like it or not. Cloud streaming is becoming more relevant. I don't want to say it's becoming a thing, but it's getting up there. It's definitely made a lot of strides in the past couple of years. So they're going to keep pimping it, man. They're going to keep pimping it. Let's see what some of y'all are saying. Make hardware more affordable. Yeah, that's what they need to do, man. But I don't know, man. With just how expensive a lot of these things are, bro. I'm just so happy I got my consoles when I did. Because when you look at how much it is, when you guys look at how expensive gaming has gotten recently, bro. Like, dude, it got to a point where, dude, the Nintendo Switch 2 right now is like the most affordable way to get into gaming. I'm not talking about buying shit used. I'm not talking about whatever. But like, if you wanted to get into gaming, buying a Nintendo Switch 2, dude, even if you got to pay like the exorbitant prices for Nintendo games, it's still cheaper than buying a PS5, which is almost $600 now. The Pro is like $800. A Series X is like almost $700. This is a very scary time to be living in, man. And the price of components on PC has gotten even. Do you guys remember back in the day when you could spend $1,000, $1,200 on a gaming PC and be set? I remember I got my first gaming PC. It was a pre-built machine for like $650 in 2011. I was running games on like 1080p 60. 2011, my guy. 2011. And that was like a budget build. Nowadays, bro, I can't even wipe my ass with $650 on a gaming PC, man. It's crazy. Yeah, so if you guys can and it's feasible for you, I would say buy these consoles now. Do what you got to do, because the Switch 2 is probably going to get a price hike this year. I assume we might get another PlayStation price hike next year. I know they're trying their best not to, but it's probably going to happen, man. Get rid of Xbox Live, make online gaming free. Oh man, I thought that they were going to do that with this console generation. If that was a really competitive Xbox, they would have gotten rid of pay to play online. They would have, but yeah. Consoles are becoming less and less necessary. We got people still on PS4 now without exclusives. People find it very easy to skip buying an Xbox. Xbox is fucked. Yeah, you know this, and that's part of the reason why if they okay, so the idea, because we brought it up earlier talking about like the next generation of consoles, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. If we were aligning ourselves with the timeline of previous generations, the next generation of consoles should be out next year at the end of the year, because that's what it is. You know, with the PS3 to 360, PS3 360 to PS4 was 7 years, and then PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, 7 years. We're at that point, which does not feel real to me at all. Like, you're telling me that we're at that point now in 2026 that we were in 2019. That is so crazy to me. Like, I can't even believe it, bro. So if you were to tell me that, oh, hey, the PS6 and the Xbox X squared or whatever they're going to call it, that's coming out next year, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Who the hell is going to buy that? Like, who the hell is going to buy that? I know we're going to have like the enthusiast crowd saying like, oh my God, I can get on here and I can play my games at, 4K with even better 4K. And I can play it at, more stable, like all that stuff. Yeah, it matters. But still, bro, the fact that like you would spend more money now on those consoles, because they're not going to be cheap. Starting price, if we're lucky, is going to be $600 for those consoles. If we're lucky. So the fact that they would put those consoles out next year with all this shit happening, and where we really haven't gotten a lot of crazy good current gen exclusives, that would be a really tough sell to me. Honestly, it would. Like the PS6, Sony is talking about delaying it by a year, 2 years. I don't blame them if they did. I'm not saying whether that's the right or the wrong move, but I certainly know releasing a PS6 next year would be catastrophic. Who the fuck is going to buy that? Who? Bro, there's people out there who still don't have PS5s, as crazy as that sounds. And I know they're an outlier. They're a very small percentage because PS5 is at, almost 100 million. But come on now, bro. Like, there are niggas who just got the PS5 last year or the year before. And you're going to come out with that PS6, man. For what? Like, we're getting at that point now. Like, how are you going to sell a PS6? You could get by on selling the PS2 to the PS3. Look at the graphics. PS3 to PS4. Look at the graphics. PS4 to PS5. It runs faster. It has better frame rates. Now we're at the point where how many times can we sell those things? It becomes increasingly smaller and smaller, the people you are going to be selling these things to. So it's just, I don't... Like, dude, like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X consoles, like, they're very capable machines, bro. They're buttery fast. They're very smooth. They're great machines. And I'm not saying that, like, we haven't fully tapped out the power in the consoles. All I'm saying is that it's going to be an extremely slow adoption rate getting a PS6. Because the PS5's first 2 years, you couldn't get the fucking console. It was sold out everywhere with the shortages. And then now it's going to be like, yeah, PS6. Nigga, for what? We got a $2 super chat coming in from Ramen Hibachi. Should I get a Steam Deck, a laptop, or a Switch 2? Are we talking for gaming purposes with that laptop? Because if you're going to get a gaming laptop, you're going to be spending... I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, bro. If you get a gaming laptop, don't be spending under $1,000, man. I'm just being real. I would say it depends on the games that you want, because the Switch 2, I think, is going to be the best all-around value because you're getting all the Nintendo exclusives going forward, and you have the back catalog of Switch games. But if you don't care about Nintendo games, get a Steam Deck, because you have all of the PC library. You have other storefronts that you can download because you can boot Windows on it. You can emulate games on there. You can do so much with the Steam Deck. So if you're a tinkerer, the Steam Deck is incredible. And the Steam Deck has a lot more features by comparison to the Switch 2. You're getting way more updates, way more timely updates in the Switch 2. The only difference is that, like I said, the Switch 2 is just, it's a sleeker machine. It's, in my opinion, it's a better portable play experience than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is just very chonky, and I love it. I love my little chonky Steam Deck, but like the Switch 2 is just so like it's beautiful, bro. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I don't know, man. Some of those gaming laptops that I see for like $700, $600, bro, them shits be crapping out. That's why, The Xbox Ally X for $1,000 though. See, so here's the thing about the Xbox Ally X. I look at it and I want one because of the power component. But I look at it and I'm just like, not with that full screen Windows experience, which is why Microsoft really has to get this hybrid console approach right, because it's still a Windows PC that they're putting a skin over. And it's just not a great handheld experience by comparison to the Steam Deck or the Switch 2. It isn't, man. This man said, get a next playground. Oh, God. Could you imagine? I want to see you review that, bro. Yeah, but I'm not like, listen, outside my Steam Deck and my Switch 2, I'm not crazy into gaming handhelds like that. I know like the handheld market's exploded, you know. Everyone's saying like, get yourself Iron Thor, bro. Get that. I'm chilling. I'm chilling, guys. More power to you, Gabe. I want to see that gaming laptop in 2 years, man. I want to see what happens to it. I don't know. Like every single one of my friends that's got like a gaming laptop that they didn't get on sale for like $600, $700, it's always crapped out on them. You feel me? Like but yeah, I'll hang out with you guys for a few more minutes before we call it a night. So get some questions in and we'll talk about some stuff, guys. I'm gonna save the Blue Point stuff for another stream. My girlfriend's been gaming on the same model going on 2 years now. Well, give it 15 minutes. Well, you can still, the Steam Deck is currently out of stock, but you could still find it in other places. Like there's always people selling the Steam Deck. Are dev cycles completely cooked nowadays? Honestly, yeah. I always tell people this, like, listen, if you are a gamer and you solely play just AAA games, you got to get comfortable waiting, because we are lucky if we get sequels to games within 4 years now. Like, looking at a game such as Respawn with Star Wars, all right? We had Star Wars Jedi Survivor, we had Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. From Jedi Fallen Order to Jedi Survivor was about 3 and a half years, Gabe, somewhere around there. 3.5 years, give or take. Maybe 4. I don't know. I'll say 4 because that's how long it took them to finally patch the game, because it was a mess at launch. We're not seeing that anymore. Because as game budgets increase and games become more grandiose and these studios scales, and as they use different engines, these games take longer to develop. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4 got announced, 4 years ago? We're still waiting? Like, the average time to work on these games is now 5 to 6 years. And that's just the unfortunate reality of game development. Unless you're something like an indie game, where, you know, they might take like 2-3 years. But even then, some indie games take like 6-7 years to make nowadays. It's crazy, man. You're lucky if you get a sequel to games every 2 to 3 years, but realistically, it's more like 4 to 5 years. Which is why you need to diversify your gaming palettes, my friends, and start playing different shit. Because we're at the point now where we're only getting a game a generation from some studios. Like, we are only going to get one new Naughty Dog game in the PlayStation 5's life cycle that is exclusive to the PlayStation 5. That is a goddamn disaster, bro. One Naughty Dog game. And yes, Naughty Dog games are quality. We all know this. I love Last of Us Part 2. But one Naughty Dog game? One. And I don't count fucking Last of Us Part 2 Remastered or The Last of Us Part 1 Remake. Stop this shit. Like, I hate when people say, no, they gave you Last of Us Part 1 Remake. Like, niggas really coming out here. All right, bro. At that point, I was like, all right, man, I'm not discussing this with people. But yeah, Intergalactic is like what, 2027, 2028? Bro, that is just crazy to me. Sucker Punch, their next game is not going to come out till the PS6. So, you know, we had Ghost of Tsushima in 2020, Ghost of Yotei in 2025, and then in 2030, we're going to have whatever their next title is. Sony Santa Monica put out God of War Ragnarok. We're going to get the new game from Cory Barlog, probably 2027, 2028. So everything is like 5-6 years at this point, my friends. Insomniac, God bless them, they're one of the few teams that were able to put out multiple games this generation. And because a lot of their games were a little bit more derivative of each other, they iterated on them instead of making them grandiose. And in some cases, it bit them in the back, like with Spider-Man 2. I felt like they could have done more with that. But yeah, you know, they put out a Ratchet & Clank game. They put out Spider-Man Miles Morales. They put out Spider-Man 2. And now they're putting out Wolverine. So they're getting games out there. And sure, they might not be on the quality level of a Naughty Dog, but it's still games coming out. You know, Ratchet & Clank plays different than Spider-Man, which plays different from what I assume Wolverine is going to be like. We have a $5 super chat coming in from the homie Don Otaku. Thank you, bro. He says 7 days until Neo and Corey Gryffindor become Pokemon fans again. Oh, he's talking about so Nintendo and Pokemon Company are re-releasing Fire Red and Leaf Green for the anniversary on the Switch 2, and they're gonna be like $20 a pop. I mean, we'll speak on that in a little bit. I don't know, guys. Like, people want me to get angry at that shit. Like, yo, what do you think about this? They're like overcharging for like Game Boy Advance ROMs and everything when I can just emulate it. Niggas know what is going on with Pokemon. Niggas been like, is this news? Is anybody really surprised that Nintendo is charging $20 for Fire Red and Leaf Green individually? Is anyone really surprised that there's no online play for them? Is anyone really surprised? Like, at this point, I feel like people are doing it to themselves, man. Niggas, they're gonna buy the games, they're gonna love it, and then that's it, man. If they like it, I love it. Like, I can sit here and be like, they could have done so much more. We could have gotten a proper remake, whatever. Nigga, I don't care, bro. I don't care, man. They're all about bare minimum effort when it comes to Pokemon, and it works for them. I'm not saying I agree with it, but you know what? Like, we gotta stop getting on here with the fake outrage saying like, oh, if you buy this, you're part of the problem. Nigga, they've been a part of the problem for over a decade. Like, we've established this, man. Pokemon fans have no standards. They don't care. They don't care. And listen, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But when people come out here and they act so surprised, like, yeah, I can emulate it on my phone. Yeah, you could emulate it on your phone, but you're not going to do that. What you're going to do is you're going to download an emulator, you're going to download the ROM, you're going to take a screenshot of it, post it on Twitter saying, oh, save $20, F you, Nintendo, and you think you did something. And you think you actually did something, man. Bro, go outside and touch some bitches or something, bro. Actually, no, don't do that, because then you might catch a case. But still, man, like, I'm just tired of, like, stop it, bro. See, stop mentioning Pokemon around me, because this always happens, guys. But thank you for the super chat, Don. We have a $2 super chat coming in from Juke the Ronin. Is Crimson Desert the one? Listen, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm nervous about Crimson Desert. I feel like either it's going to be the one, or it's going to be the one that's going to teach people once and for all to stop falling for these grandiose video games that look too good to be true. Like I said, I want it to be good. I do, but like, I'm just too cynical when you're in gaming too long, man. We have a $2 super chat coming in from Don Otaku. Demon Tides is the one. Play Demon Tides. What the fuck is Demon Tides? You talked about that earlier. What is Demon Tides? Yeah, it looks like a Don Otaku game. Just my whole demeanor changed. It's a 3D platformer. It's a 3D platform featuring very colorful characters. Okay. Demon Tide. All right, I'll take your word for it, Don Otaku. When it comes out on Switch, I'll get it. $2 super chat coming from Don Otaku. I was talking about Pokemon Gen 10. Oh, I thought you were talking about Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. See, that's just where my mind goes, man. When it comes to the Pokemon slander, but listen, okay. So you know what? Let's rewind. There's gonna be a new Pokemon game that comes out, and niggas gonna complain about it. Niggas gonna love it because it looks marginally better than the last piece of shit they gave them, and it's gonna be the same cycle over and over again. Like, why are we surprised, bro? It does look like a hat in time. That game does look like a hat in time. Nah, Gabe, listen, if the game is good, it's awesome. I have no vested interest in Crimson Desert. I'm just looking at it, I'm like, that game looks so ambitious. And I'm worried every time we see a game trailer and people say, wow, it looks so ambitious. That game is like a death sentence to me. If someone says something so ambitious, I get Factions 2 flashbacks. Man, we the problem with Factions 2 is we were just too ambitious, bro. I'm like, oh. $2 super chat coming in from Juke the Ronin. Yo, did you fuck with that Digimon game? So I wanted to get Cyber Sleuth, wow. Digimon Story Time Stranger, but man, there was just too many games that were coming out, bro. I didn't get a chance to pick it up. But it's coming out on Switch too this summer, so I think if anything, I'll just get it there. I've heard good things about it. I heard the story is not as good as Cyber Sleuth, but I heard the gameplay is great. Asbolan 199 super chat. Fuga 1 and 2 are on sale on the eShop. Wait a minute, weren't we just talking about that last stream? Fuga 1 and 2? Melodies of Steel. Yeah, that's the game with the furries and shit. It's $20. A dramatic action strategy RPG depicting hope and despair. Fuga Melody of Steel. Damn, that game is only 1.4 gigabytes. Yeah, I heard some good shit about this Fuga game, bro. Yeah, man. Oh, speaking of Switch 2 upgrades, out of nowhere, in typical Nintendo fashion, we got an update for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition on Switch 2. It's a $5 patch that ups the resolution and uncaps the frame rate. We can now play it up to 60 frames and at 4K. And I got a chance to mess with it a little bit yesterday. Okay, so here's the thing. As great as it is to play Xenoblade in 60 frames per second, and it is beautiful, this was not the greatest Switch 2 edition, if you will. The frame rate is good, but everything else about the experience is really wonky. Like, case in point, I don't know if it just might be placebo, but playing it in handheld mode, it looks a little muddier by comparison. I don't know if it's something weird they did with like the anti-aliasing or whatever, but it just doesn't look as crisp. You know, playing it on the TV, it looks better, but then you start noticing some other stuff, like it doesn't feel like a proper Switch 2 edition. The draw distances, there's still like a lot of popping going on there. Like, to me, this felt like really low effort, which makes me wonder, why wasn't this free? Because I looked at the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patch, I played that, and it doesn't look good because they didn't go back and fix all the textures and, you know, modernize it or whatever, but, you know, they bumped the resolution and frame rate, which was important. That was free. That was cool. This Xenoblade patch should have been free. That's how it looks. Like, I don't understand. Some of the things they do with these Switch 2 editions are really weird to me, bro, because, like, some games will get the resolution boost and the frame rate for free, and then other games, you got to pay for it, but they don't come with new content, you know? So, it just, like, I mean, it's only $5. And if you love Xenoblade, playing it at a higher resolution and frame rate will be good, but it's just not consistent. Like, I'd say wait for if they do another patch to fix some of these issues, because it's like one step forward, it's like two steps forward and then one step back when it comes to this. Yeah, it's just not 100% there. Like, if they keep updating it, sure, but it's not something I expected. Like, when they dropped this update, oh wow, you know, I was expecting so much more. But then again, it's Nintendo, so yeah. We have a $4.99 super chat coming in from the homie Battlefield Joe. Crazy to think a Donkey Kong game got voice acting over Pokemon. Why y'all keep bringing me on this Pokemon topic, man? We have a $10 super chat coming in from Shut Up Gabe. Appreciate you, my homie. He says, Crimson Desert looks spooky because it was announced as a MMORPG and as a sequel to Black Desert Online, made by a company that only makes online games. Pearl Abyss. It looks like an empty world. It looks like an open world shoehorn single player. Take a shot on me. Fuck. Gabe said I gotta take a shot on me. I thought I would make it through a stream without drinking tonight, guys, but I guess we gotta finish the rest of this. The rest of this. You know what? I'm glad because we're ending off a stream finishing up the vodka. Drinks on Gabe tonight. So let me go ahead and finish the rest of this. We probably have enough for... Ah, fuck. We definitely have enough for like 2 shots. Okay, so we're taking this shot tonight. We are dedicating this shot. You know what? This shot, we're dedicating it to the homie Uncle Phil Spencer, on his tenure and his legacy at Xbox. A lot of highs, a lot of lows, but through it all, Phil maintained that great positive attitude, great spirit, and I wish him nothing but the best going forward in his future endeavors. And I await in the next couple of years that tell-all confessional book, because oh man, the news we're gonna get is gonna be juicy, man. So cheers to Uncle Phil. All right. And for once, I'm taking a shot when I don't have to work tomorrow morning. I work tomorrow night. Hydration check. Yeah, we have to have a little impromptu hydration check. So I did. Well, I can finish the rest of this. This is actually a hydration check because this was electrolytes with collagen. So that is like the bougie premier version of hydration check, Guzman. Some would say more lows than highs. Yeah, that's true. Uncle Phil got Persona 3 Reload on Game Pass and gave the DLC for free. Yes, he did. He did those things, bro. Uncle Phil brought the Kingdom Hearts games to Xbox. He brought Persona and Yakuza to Xbox. He did some good things, man. And even if it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, I gotta give him props, bro. The second Uncle Phil. Yeah, but we'll go for... I guess we'll go for another 15 minutes, you guys. It's so sad Neo hasn't liked Pokemon since X and Y. You know, that's the thing, you guys. Like, I wish Pokemon was that franchise that just kept putting out banger after banger and you could just come in and out of the franchise whenever you wanted. But every time I look at a new Pokemon game, it just disappoints me. I just look at that and I'd be like, damn, bitch, this is how you live? This is how you live, bro? Hey, shout out to my homie Raigeki Core, my boy Walter in the chat. What's up, dude? What's up, brother? Sorry I'm late to the chat. Are you buying Pokemon Fire Red? Every time I try to get off the Pokemon topic, y'all bring me back in. You know, honestly, bro, I was thinking about it because I did love playing Fire Red. But man, just with the way the RPG backlog is looking like, man, I just oh god. All right, don't say that I don't ever support games, man. I just rebought Unicorn Overlord on the Switch because it was $20. I've had that thing sealed on PS5 for like 2 years because it was $30 and I wanted a physical copy. But I've been spending a lot of time at my girlfriend's place and we do a lot of gaming. So like there's sometimes where she will be playing like Persona on the couch and I'm like playing Ace Attorney, but I wanted like I've been like a tactical RPG mood. So I restarted Fire Emblem Engage for another playthrough. And I'm like, oh, this is cool, but I want something different. So I bought Unicorn Overlord on the Switch and I just started that. And man, very early, but I'm digging what I'm seeing. Unicorn Overlord is GOAT. I bought it for Xbox and Switch. Okay, so I'm not the only person. Why are you streaming before WAN is over? It's Saturday night. It's no 13 Sentinels, but it's still good. 13 Sentinels is the fucking shit, bro. I own 2 copies of that one, too. I have it on Switch because I wanted to do another playthrough. God, that game is so fucking... Alright, so, like, there's a list of games that, like, I will compile, and I'll be like, these are, like, the top 5 games you need to play if you just need something you've never played before. Nier Automata's on that list. Not Unicorn Overlord. 13 Sentinels is on that list. I just gave you all the finger. I didn't mean to do that. Except for all the people who keep asking me about Pokemon. Yeah, Maddie, you gotta get on that, man. You gotta play that shit. Okay, so in totally like reverse stream culture fashion, what have you guys been playing recently? What have you guys been enjoying? Something that tickles your fancy? Something brand new? Are you replaying a comfort game? What y'all up to? Me, myself, and I've just been going through. I've been playing a lot of visual novels recently. I remember told you guys this a lot, but like I go into certain moods when it comes to games where I want to play a lot of like, oh, like a button mashy game, so I'll play an action title, and other times I want to just like chill and play like a visual novel. So I'm going to like Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, 100 Line Last Defense Academy, things like that. But now I'm getting more back into like a gamery mood, so hence why I wanted to play Unicorn Overlord. Oh, we got a $5 super chat coming in from Artsy Avanti. How's it feel knowing that Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15 are turning 10 years old? It feels very fucking weird. It feels very fucking weird. Because now I'm at that point. Well, I've been at that point where, when you start getting like really cognizant of something and you can remember everything to the exact detail, you guys? Like, I remember everything about Persona 5 leading up to Persona 5. What I was doing the day I got Persona 5, the posts I made about Persona 5, playing Persona 5 like the entire month, like, and now you're telling me that, well, it's technically next year, but it turns 10 this year for the Japanese anniversary. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Like, I don't know, bro. That to me is like, wow, dude. But it feels good, man, because there's a lot of memories associated with Persona 5. What? Both Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15 represent two sides of the same coin, but like different experiences and emotions. Because I played Final Fantasy 15, I was just like, nigga, let's just get this over with. And then Persona 5, I was like, yes, the promised day has finally come. Even though I spent more time waiting for Final Fantasy 15 than I did Persona 5. Because, yeah, Persona 5, I was looking forward to it, but, it wasn't until they finally announced it where I was like, oh, here we go. And they announced it in 2012, but they showed it off in 2014, and then we got our first trailer a few months later in 2015. And then it was out a year later. So it wasn't that big of a wait. Final Fantasy 15, nigga, I was in middle school when I watched that trailer. Bro, I was watching that trailer, like, back when YouTube was in its infancy. Holy shit. How many of y'all remember a time where you went on YouTube and, like, popular videos would be on the front page? Oh, my God, bro. Dude. Hey, the Zero Escape series, that is awesome. I love the Zero Escape games. What was your favorite one? I'm a sucker, bro. I loved 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Beyond the Horizon was crazy. Hey, that's valid, bro. I don't know. There's so many Trails games I got to play, bro. I still got to finish first chapter before the sequel comes out. All right, well, guys, we're finishing up this damn bottle. This bottle's gone. Back in my day, YouTube had video responses. Back in my day, YouTubers had channel pages where you could write on their walls. Back in my day, you could DM YouTubers. Back in my day, you used to have to put something in the freaking URL to make a video high quality. Back in the Qmon 2 days. Yup, back in the Qmon 2 days. If you were around for the Qmon 2 days, you qualify for a veterans discount, my friends. Hey, you know what? Cheers. Cheers to all of us still being here almost 20 years later. It's crazy to consider. Shout out to y'all. And shout out to Gabe for starting the alcohol for the night. Back in my day, we had 5-star ratings. Yeah. Back in my day, we used to read manga on YouTube videos. Ooh. Yo, Artsy Avance just said YouTube is no longer about you. It's about them. Ooh, those bars would have went off in 2012, man. Those bars? Artsy Avance? My God. We got to go back in time and have you say those bars again. I remember the Sonic and the Black Knight intro alongside using Ninja Blade in the intro. Yo, that's a deep cut. I still think about that from time to time. Every single time that song comes up on my playlist. I was just like, I want to create an intro. I need to have like footage of something nearby. And I had Ninja Blade footage I captured for. Do you guys remember Ninja Blade? Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't From Software work on Ninja Blade? Was that From Software? Or was that Platinum Games? I think it was From Software. Oh my god. If it was From Software, I'm gonna fucking lose it. It was From Software, bro. Oh my god. When From Software wanted to make like a Ninja Gaiden game, they came out with Ninja Blade. I remember playing that demo so much, bro. Oh my god. They did do it. Yo, my boy Navan. What's up, Papa? How you doing? I started playing Kingdom Come Deliverance on PC. The game is amazing, and I'm a big fan of the first-person RPG. This one's good. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance, I didn't play the first one. I started the second one. I got like 10, 15 hours in. That game was so fucking good from a narrative point of view and in terms of it being like a really, really realistic RPG, but it was too much of a time commitment for me to play. But it's a very good game, bro. Yeah, Ninja Blade was not a good game. Had a fire demo, though. Yo, I would, Jason, but I don't want to get like some weird copyright strikes. Ninja Blade, bro. Oh my god. Ninja Blade. Oh my god. Yo, Otaku Underground. I was just talking to my sister about how like those anime are turning 20 years old. And to me, it's not weird that Death Note is turning 20 years old. But at the same time, it's weird to me that I can just remember where I was when I watched the Final Fantasy Versus 13 trailer. Oh my god, dude. That era, bro. There was something so pure about that era of looking up gaming news, man. There was a time where before the internet was so mainstream, all the news we got for gaming was like in magazines, and then there were times where people would tell you stuff and it was, no, it's real, it's legit, man. Bro, do you guys remember that era? Oh god, especially during the Pokemon days. My god, when Pokemon Red and Blue came out, there was a lot of people coming up with like theories and things on what you could do in the games and secret stuff if you do certain things on certain days. Man, bro. We'll never have that magical time ever again, and it sucks. It does, bro. Hey, now you good, Navan. No worries, bro. We'll be back next week. Have you played the Danganronpa series? Yes, I have. Danganronpa is awesome. It's very chaotic, especially those first two games. But they're fun. They're really fun games to play. Remember when people said you can get Sonic and Smash Bros. Melee? Oh my god, bro. And it was so funny that he ended up being in the next game. Oh, man. Dude, that era of gaming... Bro, I'll never forget, bro, when, like in the days of just renting stuff at Blockbuster, when we would have a 3-day weekend, my mom would surprise us with these Blockbuster coupons where we could rent stuff. And, oh man, I remember back in the day how much it used to cost to rent a game. It was like $5, which as a kid was so much fucking money. And then I remember when I was when I was working my first part-time job, I was like 16. We had a Blockbuster across the street, and I remember I would get off of work and I would, like, before my parents picked me up, I would walk down to the Blockbuster and see what games they had. I remember one of the first games I rented as a grown person with money was Army of Two, the 40th Day. Such a fun fucking game. Those Army of Two games, they're not that great, but they're so much fucking fun. Poor man's Gears of War. I don't care. But I remember I rented that, and at the time, to rent a game at Blockbuster when they were on their way out was like $10 for 5 fucking days. And I was like, wow, that's so fucking expensive, bro. That's crazy. But in hindsight, it was like, that's like $2 a day. It's not the worst thing in the world. And depending on what the game is and how much time you put into it, it's not that bad. But as a kid, you were like, what the fuck, $10? Remember, this shit used to be $5. Like, that to me was like a first real indication that, yo, Blockbuster is not going to last, bro. And they did, and they closed down shortly after. But, yeah. Well, we did we have a Hollywood Video? I think we might have had a Hollywood Video in, like, Hartsdale or White Plains or something. Yeah, I think we did. But to me, like, the main places we had was just Blockbuster. Game Crazy? Hey, we didn't have a Game Crazy near me. Yeah, yeah. Hunterline Last Defense Academy. From what I played, it's good so far, man. I haven't gotten to like the really good stuff. It's a really, really long game, but yeah. Questionable content. I'm screaming. G4. Yeah, you guys remember how if you wanted to watch E3 and you didn't have a computer, you had to watch it, I think like on G4 or any of those channels back then. Oh man. Bro, holy shit. X Play and all that. Okay, so I'm curious, since we're all dating ourselves by 20 years, did any of you guys, what was y'all's story about getting like the PS3 and the Wii that year? Because they were really hard to get. I didn't get either of them. I didn't get my Wii until the following summer. I got it as a graduation present, and we had to like, I searched for like 2 weeks to try to find a Wii. PS3 I didn't get till like the PS3 Slim came out. But did any of you guys like ever like camp out for those or whatever? Do you remember the Radio Shack in Co-op City? I do. Absolutely, I do, Peppermint Leo. I remember that. Do you remember in Co-op City, what was that place called? National Liquidators or whatever, or some shit like that. I remember we bought a I think like it was a Gundam pinball machine back in the day. Holy shit. Oh, your dad got you a Wii from eBay? Damn, he was plugged in. I got my PS3 back in 2013. Holy shit. Oh, my man said he bought the broken consoles and he fixed them. Yeah, real life Tony Stark right there. Did you ever attend the Super Smash Brothers tournament at GameStop when it released? No, I didn't. I didn't really go to any tournaments. I went to a Beyblade. I went to like a Beyblade tournament. I went to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments when I was younger. I went to a Beyblade tournament. I got knocked out in the first round. I started crying. Oh my god. Cause my dumbass, I went there. I had the remote control Beyblade. You know that big ass thing? It wasn't like a regular Beyblade where you just let it rip. It had a whole fucking thing. Bro, I remember I was playing in the tournament and I cocked that shit wrong and my Beyblade got fucked up and it didn't like spin with the velocity that it did and I got kicked out and I started crying, bro. I was like, oh! Oh my god. I walked into a base exchange and they put one on the shelf. I was walking. I asked if it was on sale. They were like 600. God damn. My brother got the MotorStorm PS3 bundle. I got a Wii as my birthday gift, both in '07. Still have both of them to this day. That PS3 died with the yellow light of death. My Wii is still going strong. That's awesome. I have my PS3 right here, actually. I had it downstairs, but brought it up here. I might plug that bitch in and play like freaking the God of War PSP games or something, man. That PS3 is a classic. Oh, you came in second and you were the only girl? Damn, look at you, Bree. Stunting on all them boys. I bet you were the only one who smelled good there, too. Right, Geki Core. How I got my PS3. So my girlfriend, Cynthia, who is my wife now, gave me $300 to get a PS3 for my birthday. That's when I knew she was the one. Just kidding. Well, Cynthia always been cool like that. Why don't you tell people about when you got that Alienware laptop, bro? Since you over here giving us all the lore, Walter. Damn, bro. You know we old when we sound like them old dudes who talk about their past. Can't believe we're them old dudes. Yeah, we are all them old dudes now, bro. Like, we are all them old dudes. I remember my manager was just like, he's older than me. But he said, like, Chris, you old, bro. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're only a couple years older than me. Stop this. Like, man. I don't know, bro. It's just, I love it. I love reflecting all this shit. It's awesome. My Wii was similar. I was in, so she was walking by me. My girlfriend at the time told you getting the Wii. I said that probably in an empty box and asked the employee. He said, nah, there went 300. Yo, be quiet about that. Nah, you over here giving us the lore about how you got the PS3. You gotta let people know about that amazing Alienware unboxing. Because you've been waiting for that shit for like a week and a half. I still remember that video, bro. I should have downloaded that and kept it. Yo, Neo, not sure if you remember, we used to play Black Ops in 2009 on the PS3. Damn. Wait, I had Black Ops on the PS3? I thought I had Black Ops on the 360. Did I have it on the PS3? Unless I borrowed it. I don't know. But you know what? We probably did. Oh, good days, bro. Yo, man. This is some real shit, bro. We used to be... Listen, Xbox 360 back in the day, if y'all weren't there, we used to be in Xbox parties for like 12 hours, bro. We would get on the game, we'd play. Some of us would get off the game, go make a sandwich, come back, just chill, vibe in the party, watch movies together, and then we'd end off playing Call of Duty Zombies. We would be in that bitch all day, bro. It's like Discord parties ain't had nothing on us, bro. Like we was, man, that shit was amazing, bro. I think I got an Xbox 360 specifically for Sonic 06 for Christmas. Why would you do that to yourself? Oh, man. Oh, my boy Corey Gryffindor, that's his village origin story. That's when Corey Gryffindor just started. Yo, that man got Sonic 06 and a 360 for Christmas. That man punched the 360 afterwards. Dude, I used to pull all-nighters playing Battlefield 3 with my best friend. I brought my PS3 to his house and we'd play on 2 TVs in the same room. That's fucking fire, bro. It's like Halo LAN parties back in the day. I got a 360 for Vesperia. Well, that's a good reason to get a 360. Hey guys. Did any of y'all ever buy a PS3 for Kingdom Hearts 3? Oh, man. Could you imagine? Someone's like, yeah, I'm going to buy a PS3 for Kingdom Hearts 3. Yo, I remember I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 would come out in 2011 or 2012, bro. I was off by 7 years. 7 years and a whole console generation. Yo, Broken Bond. That was my Naruto game right there. I loved it. My PS4 died the day Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. Oh my god. Jesus. That's terrible. What happened to it? I got my PS3 specifically for Lair. You poor child. I bought a PS3 for Storm 2. There we go. What was your favorite PS3 demo? I love the Force Unleashed. Ooh, PS3 demos. Oh, shit. Yo, you know what I used to do back in the day on the PS3? I used to download trailers. I used to download the Final... I downloaded like the Final Fantasy 13 trailer with the Leona Lewis music. My Hands. Oh, my God. That was a great fucking trailer. Still to this day. I got my PS3 for Ni no Kuni. Yeah. The God of War Trilogy remake is coming out before Kingdom Hearts 4. No, I doubt that. As soon as the PS4 was announced and there was no signs of Versus 13 or Kingdom Hearts 3 and PS3, I made sure to lock in. Yup. I bought a PS3 for Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5. Not a bad reason. Fan stopped working. I had that mug unscrewed and manually jump-started the fan every time I wanted to play. Damn! Well, listen, Psychosis, where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, man. Yo, PS2... Bro, I had a PS2 demo disc that had like a One Piece fighting game on it, and I think it had Stranglehold, The Ties That Bind. Oh, and I had one that had Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Oh, listen, bro. When we didn't have money for games back then, bro, we lived on those demo discs, man. I see Asbelant. Asbelant's real favorite song in a Final Fantasy game is when we found out that Eminem did a song for Final Fantasy 15. Well, he didn't do a song for Final Fantasy 15, but they used it for Final Fantasy 15, which I just realized this past month. I was like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's a thing. Bro, when Jason showed me that shit, we were in California. I was like, no fucking way. He's like, yeah, no, this is real. I was like, no fucking way. It's not real. He's like, yeah, it's real. Dude, Shaolin Monks was the shit. I had a PS2 demo disc with the OG Transformers game. Hey. Yes, it was Grand Arena Psychosis. It was Grand Arena. My hands, your hands. Oh, Eminem when he did Black Ops 1. I like that song. You can sound... That was with Rihanna, right? You can sound the alarm. You can call out your guards. You can, yeah. But I won't back down. I made a Japanese account on Xbox just to download the Storm 2 demo. Same twin. Same twin. Absolutely, bro. Bro, I love how we all have a lot of the same core memories. This is crazy. Do you still have your old video game magazines? Those are like time capsules now. I do. I have a lot of them. I have a lot in this drawer. I have a lot of them in this drawer, dude. I have like Yu-Gi-Oh magazines. I have Naruto magazines. What is this random lanyard for? I don't know where this is from. Yeah, I have a lot of these magazines. I remember I showed some of them on camera like 6-7 years ago or whatever. I have all my strategy guides in here. Good time. Yeah, we need that cup ramen in our Final Fantasy game. Yeah, they had the cup ramen noodle side quest, bro. Listen, that's y'all game of the year, man. I remember I got so much flack for shitting on that game. But I will say, if they ever, okay, so here's, you know what's the really fucked up part about Final Fantasy 15? The worst thing about it is I played through the Arden DLC and I was like, oh, I see some of the vision, bro. Because if they really had this stuff in the main game, this shit would have been great. But by the time, like, you get that DLC, they're like, yo, we're canceling the rest of the DLC. This is it. This is the last of it. I was like, wow. So the time when I finally get invested in the story is when y'all cancel it. If they were to ever, and this is never going to happen with how expensive game development is. If they were to ever go back and like say, hey, listen, we're going to redo Final Fantasy 15 and we're going to do the story properly from beginning to end, might go down as one of the best Final Fantasy games. If they actually tell that story properly, and I'm not just talking about adding the DLC in. I'm talking about the story that they promised us in Versus 13 that they stripped away in 15. That game could be fucking fire. Nah, the Arden DLC, the story of the Arden DLC was great, bro. The music was great, too. You can read the novel to get the rest of the story. I'm good, Chief. I'm good. Listen, if they plugged in and they actually fixed that game, what's his name doing? What was that guy's name? Hajime Tabata? What has he been up to? Because I know that game aged him. So I know he left Square Enix in 2018. What has he been doing? So the Pegasus Dream Tour, he did a mobile game as a producer and a director. Okay, so he hasn't been doing anything. Wow. Yeah, they really they put out that DLC and as soon as it got interesting, nah, canceled. Ah, fuck you. Yeah, 16 was definitely a more cohesive vision across the board. Chris, what are your 2 cents on Renoir's battle theme? Well, in general, the music in Expedition 33 is fucking phenomenal. But specifically the music that you are blessed to listen to when you fight the final boss of the game. Well, the final boss of the game. People play the game now. Incredible. And the lead up and the build up to all of that. Bro, the E33 soundtrack, like if I open up my freaking YouTube music, I was about to say Google Play Music. Wow, I'm dating myself. You're gonna find a freaking Expedition 33 track. Yeah. Un Veti Pendre. Yeah, all that shit right there, bro. Alicia, all that, bro. E33. Game of the year, bro. Oh, man. He's making some smaller games and some Japanese government-funded games. That sounds terrifying. Oh, my God. But, yeah, I'm looking at the clock, you guys. We've been going for a little over 2 hours. I think it's about time we wrap up this little stream. Yo, shout out to y'all for pulling up. We finished discussing the topics quite a while ago, and this turned into an impromptu Ask Neo Chill stream. But, yeah, you guys, thank y'all for pulling up and discussing the funeral or the rebirth of Xbox. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. We will be watching your career with great interest, Asha, and see where it goes from there. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit the like button. It helps out the channel tremendously. And if you haven't already, make sure that you grab yourself your favorite H2O beverage of choice. Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, races, and ethnicities alike, if I can find where it went, here we go. We are about to have ourselves a hydration check. Tonight, we're going to be blessed with Canada Dry lemon lime seltzer water. I think this is the last I have, so I have to go shopping sometime in the next couple days for more seltzer. Because you know me, back at it like a crack addict. We're going to be having ourselves a hydration check because we did drink 2 shots of liquor as well. So you got to stay hydrated. It's very good for your hair, your skin, your nails, just all your bodily functions and your organs. So on the count of 3, guys, hydration. 1, 2, 3, hydrate or dehydrate. Yes, sir. But yeah, you guys, enjoy the rest of your mornings, your evenings, your afternoons. Get a lot of gaming in, watch a lot of anime, eat a lot of great food, have a lot of great sex, and make sure y'all wash your ass, because that is very important, because when you smell good, people like you. Anyways, from me to you for now, my name is NGS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.